Chosen one, what if I told you that every sleepless night you've had this month, every restless moment where you felt something stirring deep in your spirit, every time you've caught yourself staring at the calendar wondering, when, God, when? What if I told you it was all heaven preparing you for the 3rd and 4th of August? And what if the reason you can't shake this feeling, this holy unrest in your bones, is because your name has been written in the courts of heaven for this exact moment? What if your breakthrough has a date, and that date is this weekend? Listen to me, chosen one. This is not just another day, not just another message. If you're hearing this right now, if something drew you here in the midnight hour or the early dawn, then heaven circled your name. You didn't stumble upon this by accident. The 3rd and 4th of August have been calling your spirit. And if your heart's been trembling lately, if you've felt that strange mixture of anticipation and fear, you already know it. There's a reason why sleep has been escaping you. There's a reason why your prayers feel different. There's a reason why even your enemies have been unusually quiet. Something is shifting in the realm of the spirit, and you, beloved, are at the center of it. In just 3 minutes, I'm going to reveal why tonight was reserved specifically for you. Why this moment, this message, this divine appointment was marked in eternity before you took your first breath. But first, let me ask you something sacred. Have you felt it? That stirring in your spirit that whispers, something's coming. That divine restlessness that makes you feel like you're standing on the edge of forever. If your soul has been restless, if you've been sensing that God is about to move in ways you've never experienced, just comment, I'm here right now. Let heaven and hell know you're listening, you're ready, you're present for what's about to unfold. Before we go deeper, thank you to every single one of you who has supported this message through Super Thanks. Your generosity means more than you know. You're not just giving, you're helping spread light to others who feel alone in their calling. Whether you sow a seed or not, I'm deeply grateful for your presence here. Your support, your time, your attention, it all matters. And if this message resonates with your soul, go ahead, because what I'm about to share will suspend time itself. The 3rd and 4th of August aren't coming, they are here. And you, chosen one, are about to discover why your entire life has been leading to this legendary moment. Are you ready to step into what heaven has been preparing for you? Then stay with me. Your breakthrough has a name, and it's about to be spoken. Why have you endured so much pain that others never even witnessed? Why have you carried burdens that broke people half your age? Why does it feel like you've been fighting battles that God Himself could have ended with a single word, yet He allowed them to rage on for decades? You've buried people you loved. Parents who were supposed to teach you how to grow old. Children who were supposed to bury you instead. Friends who promised they'd walk with you until the end, but left you standing at gravesides wondering why breath still fills your lungs when theirs went silent. You've prayed for healing that never came, not the way you asked. You've knelt beside hospital beds, begging heaven to intervene, only to watch machines flatline and doctors shake their heads. You've laid hands on your own body, declaring scriptures over tumors that wouldn't shrink, over joints that wouldn't stop aching, over a heart that's been broken so many times you wonder if it still beats or just pretends to. You've wondered, and don't lie to yourself about this. You've wondered in those 3 a.m. moments when the house is silent and your thoughts are screaming, "Did God forget me?" You've questioned whether your name got lost in heaven's filing system, whether your prayers got stuck in some cosmic voicemail that nobody checks anymore. But here's what you need to understand, chosen one. Here's what the enemy has been desperately trying to hide from you for all these years. You haven't been forgotten, you've been forged. Every tear you've cried in secret, every prayer you've whispered through gritted teeth, every morning you've forced yourself out of bed when your soul wanted to stay buried under covers. It was all preparation. You've been like Noah building a boat in the dry season. People didn't see the flood coming. They mocked the hammering. They questioned the blueprints, but you kept showing up anyway. Look at Job. The man lost everything. His wealth, his children, his health. His own wife told him to curse God and die. His friends accused him of hidden sin. For chapter after chapter he sat in ashes, scraping his sores with broken pottery, asking the same questions you've asked. Why me? Why this? Why now? But God wasn't punishing Job. God was showcasing him. Have you considered my servant Job? God bragged to Satan. There's nobody like him on earth. That's you, beloved. You're not being punished. You're being showcased. Consider Anna, the prophetess, 84 years old, widowed after just 7 years of marriage. She could have grown bitter, could have given up on God's promises. Instead, she stayed in the temple, fasting and praying, waiting for the consolation of Israel. And when baby Jesus was brought in, she was there. At 84, she became the first female evangelist in the New Testament, proclaiming redemption to all who looked for salvation in Jerusalem. Your age isn't disqualifying you, it's qualifying you. Look at Caleb, 40 years in the wilderness, 40 years watching his generation die off because of their fear and unbelief. But at 85 years old, 85, he marched up to Joshua and declared, "Give me this mountain. I'm as strong today as I was 40 years ago." And God gave him the very mountain the giants lived on. You think you're too old for your breakthrough? Tell that to Caleb. You think you've waited too long? Tell that to Anna. You think your trials have weakened you? Tell that to Job, who ended up with twice what he started with. You're not weak, dear one. You're seasoned. You're not broken. You're battle-tested. And heaven saw every tear. God collected every sob. The psalmist wrote, "You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle." Psalm 56:8. Not some of your tears, all of them. Every single drop has been precious to him. But here's where it gets powerful. Here's where your story shifts from survival to victory. The very thing that almost destroyed you is about to become your greatest testimony. The mountain that looked impossible to climb is about to become your highest platform. The wilderness that felt like your graveyard is about to become your launching pad. Because the 3rd and 4th of August aren't just any dates, they are your date with destiny. It's the moment when all those years of preparation converge into one explosive moment of divine intervention. You've been in training, chosen one, and your graduation day is here. Every sleepless night was you developing spiritual stamina. Every unanswered prayer was you learning to trust beyond your understanding. Every betrayal was you discovering that your source isn't people, it's the Almighty. Every closed door was you being redirected toward the door marked miracle. The enemy thought he was defeating you, but God was developing you. Hell thought it was burying you, but heaven was building you. People thought you were falling apart, but you were falling into place. Comment, "I didn't give up." If you know you've survived some storms that should have drowned you, let heaven and earth know that you're still standing. Not because it was easy, but because you were chosen to endure. Because what's coming on the 3rd and 4th of August will make every moment of pain worth it. What's about to break open in your life will justify every tear you've cried, and the people who watched you struggle are about to watch you soar. But first, you need to understand exactly what heaven has been orchestrating behind the scenes while you've been fighting your battles. Listen carefully, chosen one. Some days are just dates on a calendar, meaningless numbers that pass by unnoticed. But others are divine thresholds, sacred portals where heaven itself leans down and rewrites the story of your life in a single moment. The 3rd and 4th of August are not just other days. They are when the gears of destiny turn in your favor. You see, there's something the enemy of your soul desperately doesn't want you to understand. There's a reason why you've been in this season of waiting, this valley of uncertainty, this wilderness of delayed promises. There's a reason why breakthrough has felt just out of reach, why doors have remained shut, why the phone hasn't rung with the call you've been praying for. The enemy knows something about the 3rd and 4th of August that he's been trying to hide from you. He knows that your release date has been written in heaven's calendar since before the foundation of the world, and he's been working overtime to make you give up just days before your liberation. But here's what hell didn't count on. You're still here. You're still believing. You're still standing when weaker souls would have fallen. And that, beloved, is why the 3rd and 4th of August carry such devastating power for the kingdom of darkness. This is not hype. This is not feel-good fluff designed to make you smile and move on with your day. This is a pivot point in the spiritual realm where the prayers you've been praying, the tears you've been crying, the faith you've been fighting to maintain, all of it converges into one supernatural moment of divine intervention. Think about Joseph, 17 years of slavery and false accusations, 17 years of wondering if God had forsaken him. And then in Genesis 41:14, we read these life-changing words. Then Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and they brought him hastily out of the dungeon. Hastily. In one day, Joseph went from prisoner to prime minister. In one conversation, his entire destiny shifted. In one divine moment, 17 years of pain became the very qualification for his promotion. But here's what shakes me to my core. The Bible doesn't say Pharaoh decided that morning to remember Joseph. It says Pharaoh's dreams troubled him so much that his spirit was troubled. God orchestrated a supernatural anxiety in the heart of the most powerful man on earth just to create Joseph's breakthrough moment. What if I told you that right now, at this very moment, God is troubling the spirits of people in positions of power over your situation? What if the delay you've been experiencing isn't God forgetting you? It's God positioning the chess pieces for a move so brilliant, so perfectly timed, that when it happens, there will be no doubt it came from heaven. David knew this too. 1 Samuel 16 tells us he was anointed king as a teenager, but he didn't touch the throne for another 15 years. 15 years of running from Saul, hiding in caves, watching other men sit on the throne that God had promised to him. But then came the day. 2 Samuel 5:3 records it simply. So all the elders of Israel came to the king to Hebron, and King David made a league with them in Hebron before the Lord, and they anointed David king over Israel. One day, one moment, 15 years of preparation compressed into one coronation ceremony that changed the trajectory of a nation. You've been David in the cave, you've been Joseph in the pit, but the 3rd and 4th of August, they are your throne room moment, your hastily out of the dungeon day, your divine reversal that makes hell tremble and heaven rejoice. But I need you to understand something that most believers miss entirely. These supernatural shifts don't happen in a vacuum. They happen when heaven recognizes that you've been refined enough, tested enough, strengthened enough to handle what's coming next. The testing wasn't punishment. It was preparation for a level of responsibility that would have crushed them if they'd received it too early. So let me ask you something that might shatter everything you think you know about your current situation. What if the very thing that's been breaking your heart has been building your capacity? What if the rejection you faced has been redirecting you towards something infinitely greater? What if every closed door has been God's protection from settling for less than His absolute best for your life? The 3rd and 4th of August mark the moment when heaven looks at your character and says, now they're ready. Ready for the influence, ready for the platform, ready for the resources, ready for the relationships, ready for the responsibility that comes with the next level of their calling. You see, there's something supernatural that happens when divine timing aligns with human readiness. It's not just that God opens a door. It's that He opens the exact right door at the exact right moment, with the exact right people on the other side who have been supernaturally prepared to say yes to you. I'll tell you exactly what changes on the 3rd and 4th of August. But I need to show you something first that will help you recognize it when it happens. Because this shift isn't coming with trumpets and fanfare. It's coming with a whisper that only prepared ears will hear. Are you ready to discover the specific signs that your breakthrough is manifesting and why missing them could cost you everything? For 70 years, maybe 80, you've walked this earth faithfully, quietly. While others received their flowers, you kept planting gardens. While others got their recognition, you kept serving in the shadows. While others were celebrated for their youth, you were dismissed for your wisdom. But listen to me closely, chosen one. Heaven never forgot your name. In the courtroom of eternity, where angels record every tear you've cried in secret, every prayer you've whispered in the darkness, every act of kindness you performed when no one was watching, your file has been marked. Priority, not forgotten, not overlooked. Priority. You've been carrying this weight, haven't you? This feeling that God moved on without you, that your season passed you by, that maybe you're too old, too tired, too late for the miracles you've been praying for. You've watched younger generations receive what seemed impossible while you've been standing in line for decades. But what if I told you that every delay in your life wasn't God saying no, it was God saying not yet. But when I move for you, it will be legendary. The word says in Isaiah 46:4, "Even to your old age and gray hairs, I am He. I am He who will sustain you." God didn't put an expiration date on His promises to you. He didn't stamp your dreams with "best used by age 65. While the world discards what it considers outdated, heaven is preparing to showcase what it calls vintage. You know what the enemy whispered to you? Your time is over. Your dreams died with your youth. Your purpose expired with your strength. But that was a lie designed to make you settle, to make you believe that God's favor has an age limit. Here's the shocking truth. The devil doesn't want you to know. God is not just visiting the young, He is crowning the seasoned. Moses was 80 when God called him to deliver Israel. Sarah was 90 when she conceived Isaac. Caleb was 85 when he said, "Give me this mountain." Anna was 84 when she proclaimed the Messiah. Abraham was 100 when his promise finally arrived. Your gray hair isn't a sign of your decline. It's a crown of glory. Your wrinkles aren't marks of defeat. They're evidence of battles won. Your slower pace isn't limitation. It's wisdom that knows which steps matter most. But here's what's happening right now in this very moment. The same God who remembered Hannah's tears, who remembered Noah's faithfulness, who remembered Daniel in the lion's den, that same God is remembering you. Your name is being called in heavenly chambers. Your file is being pulled from the archives. Your case is being reopened. The delay was not a denial. It was God aligning your legacy with the right moment. It was heaven orchestrating circumstances so that when your breakthrough comes, it will impact not just you, but generations. When God moves for the seasoned saint, He doesn't just change a life, He changes a lineage. You've been wondering why nothing seemed to work out in your 20s, 30s, 40s, even your 50s and 60s. Why doors remained closed, why opportunities passed you by, why you had to watch others receive what you'd been believing for. Here's why. Because what God has for you requires the full weight of your experience. It requires the depth of your wisdom. It requires the strength that only comes from surviving every storm you've weathered. You couldn't have carried this blessing as a young person. You would have broken under its magnitude. But now you're ready. Now you can handle the weight of legacy. Now you can steward the magnitude of miracle that's about to be released in your life. Psalm 92:14 declares, "They will still bear fruit in old age. They will stay fresh and green." Not "were fruitful," not "used to be productive." Will still bear fruit, present tense, active, ongoing. Your 3rd and 4th of August isn't about reminiscing on what was. It's about stepping into what is. God isn't giving you a participation trophy for making it this far. He's handing you the keys to everything you've been preparing for your entire life. The investments you made in prayer, compound interest is about to pay out. The seeds you planted in faithfulness, harvest season has arrived. The foundation you laid in obscurity, it's time to build the visible structure. But you have to believe this. Your best days are not behind you. Your greatest impact is not in your past. Your most significant moments are not in your rearview mirror. They are in front of you, waiting for you to claim them with the authority of someone who has been remembered by heaven. The world might have written you off. Society might have put you on the shelf. Even your own family might treat you like your contribution days are over. But God is about to remind everyone, including you, that He saves the best wine for last. Write in the comments, "I receive it. I was not forgotten." Say it aloud. Claim your space. Let every angel in heaven know that you're ready to walk into the remembrance that's been waiting for you. Because the 3rd and 4th of August aren't just other days on your calendar. They are the days heaven says, now it's time. Show them what legendary looks like at any age. But there's something else you need to know about this divine remembrance. Something that will shock you about the specific way God is about to move in your life. Listen to me, dear one. The world told you that at 65 your best days were behind you. They handed you a gold watch and said, "Your time is up. Step aside. Let the younger generation take over." But I'm here to tell you something that will shake the very foundations of what you've been told about aging. Your spirit didn't retire when you turned 65. Your calling didn't expire when you collected your first Social Security check. And God Almighty didn't suddenly decide you were too old to be used for His glory. The enemy has been feeding you lies about your season. He's whispered in your ear that your voice doesn't matter anymore, that your dreams should be put to bed, that your best contribution to this world is to quietly fade into the background and let others lead. But chosen one, that is the greatest deception ever sold to the generation that should be the most powerful. You're not just someone's grandparent, you're someone's spiritual warrior. You're not just someone who's lived a long life. You're someone who's been forged in the fires of experience, tested by decades of trials, and refined by years of walking with God. Open your Bible to Joshua 14. Here stands Caleb, 85 years old. And what does he say? "Give me this mountain," not "give me a rocking chair," not "give me a quiet retirement home." He said, "Give me this mountain. I'm as strong today as I was 40 years ago." Moses was 80 when God called him to the greatest assignment of his life, leading an entire nation out of bondage. 80 years old. Anna the prophetess was 84 when she recognized the Messiah and became the first evangelist to proclaim his coming to Jerusalem. Yet somehow the modern church has convinced you that spiritual retirement is biblical, that once you hit a certain age, you should step back, be quiet, and let others take the lead. But that's not God's design. That's man's limitation. Your next 10 years can shift your family line forever. The prayers you pray today can change the trajectory of your great-grandchildren who haven't even been born yet. The wisdom you carry, the experience you've gained, the faith you've built. These aren't souvenirs from your past. They're weapons for your future. But here's what breaks my heart. I see too many of you sitting in churches, quiet as mice, convinced that your time has passed. You've got miracle stories that could encourage a dying generation, but you keep them to yourself. You've got prayers that could break through heavens, but you whisper them instead of declaring them. You've got wisdom that could save marriages, heal families, and transform communities, but you've been convinced it's outdated. The church needs your fire, not your silence. The world needs your boldness, not your retreat. Your family needs your spiritual authority, not your spiritual retirement. You've survived the Great Depression, World War II, the Cold War, 9/11, and a global pandemic. You've buried parents, raised children, built careers, and weathered storms that would have destroyed weaker generations. And now you think God is done with you? Abraham was 75 when God called him to leave everything and follow a promise he couldn't see. Sarah was 90 when she gave birth to the miracle that would birth a nation. Noah was 600 when he stepped off the ark into a brand new world. Age was never God's disqualifier. It was always man's excuse. Right now, as I speak these words, there are battles being fought in the heavenly realm over your next season. There are assignments waiting for your yes. There are destinies hanging in the balance, waiting for you to stop believing the lie that you're too old to matter. The devil doesn't want you to know this, but the generation over 60 holds more spiritual authority than any other generation alive today. You've been through the tests. You've proven your faithfulness. You've demonstrated your commitment. And now, when you should be walking in the fullness of your anointing, you've been convinced to step aside. Your voice still carries weight in the courts of heaven. Your prayers still move mountains. Your faith still works miracles. And your testimony still has the power to transform lives. But here's the urgency. The 3rd and 4th of August aren't just other dates. They are a divine reset button for every chosen one who has been convinced their season is over. It's God's way of saying, I'm not done with you yet. In fact, I'm just getting started. Some of you have been praying for your children for 30 years. Some of you have been standing in faith for your spouse for decades. Some of you have been believing for that family restoration, that financial breakthrough, that healing miracle, thinking maybe you waited too long. But what if I told you that every year you've aged has been adding compound interest to your prayers? What if every gray hair represents wisdom gained? What if every wrinkle is evidence of battles fought and victories won? Say it loud. God's not done with me yet. Say it again. God's not done with me yet. Your voice still matters. Your calling is still active. Your anointing is still fresh. The question isn't whether God can still use you. The question is whether you'll believe him when he says your greatest chapter is still unwritten.